Again, because now we have more people to come, I'm thrilled to say that we have more than 60 countries with us today. And it was like I'm putting on my shoulder today 2 points. Today, I will speak about, as you know, Endostar, the rotary system, and in-depth precision engineering in endodontics and its impact on your practice. So, on my shoulders, I have two important points. The first one of them, the multinational attendees that will be with us. Each and every one of them has his own mentality, his way of working, um, the way that he taught in his dental school in his country, and how I connect all these points together so everyone can understand what I want to say. Either you are general practitioner, either you are specialist consultants, still there's differences between the schools, between the countries, between your patients. So I took this on my shoulders. This is the first point. The second point is to make every general practitioner attending with us today to transmit or transfer his practicing experience to the next level so he can face his cases without stress, without fears, with my protocol, with understanding some points he didn't hear about or even have only minor shells or cracks from it, but he don't have all his information. First of all, let me introduce myself. I'm Dr. Amr Alwi. I'm an endodontic specialist. My practice is only limited to root canal treatment. I'm founder of Timeless Endodontics for Manualist Protocol, and I'm opinion leader of Endostar of Poland. I have the fellowship from Genoa University, Italy. This is my email. This is my social media connection. If you have any question, you are more than welcome, like everyone, to contact me either by cases, by information, by knowledge. You will find me, answer you right away, because in my beginning, I needed someone to help me. And back in late 90s and early 2000, it was very hard back this time. But nowadays, we can connect easily and you can ask me anytime. Okay, all of you know about the lecture title, Endostar, the Rotary File, and the Precision of Engineering in Endodontics. Today, we will have three axes, and I want you to write this down. Three axes we will work on. We will work on the Endostar Rotary System, the Timeless Endodontics Protocol, which I started in 2010, and I started to publish my first case, I remember, in March 26, 2014, without using any manual file. When I say without, it means zero. I don't buy manual files. I don't have it in my clinic. Everyone from the attendees, some of my interns who work with me in the clinic, know that I don't have any kind of manual files. And the last part, the science behind timeless endodontics with Endostar. All these points, when you get out of them, it cannot be mentioned in only one lecture. That's why you will find me in some parts giving some fine details for you, and it will enlighten you for more points that you can read about. Don't take the lecture only for granted. You have to take the points that I speak about and search it, Google it, see any scientific paper about it, and you can ask me anytime. Okay, for the first axis, the rotary systems by Endostar. Endostar producing many endodontics instruments, bloggers, manual files, sonic files, and rotary system. And now we have took our production facility to more and more heat treated systems. We will talk today about the E3 Azure, which was previously only the E3, which is not heat treated, but now the second generation E3 Azure with Azure heat treatment technology, and the revision with Azure heat treatment technology, and the Glide Pass file Easy Pass with Amber heat treatment technology. We will start first with E3 Azure. Now I will not speak about system, I will speak about science. What about this file? I don't want you to look to the left side, I want you only to look to the right side. As you can see here, you can see the E3 Azure have a variable batch number, safe tip, so the file will not engage into your canal and alternate your natural canal anatomy. Neutral rack angle, we will see it later on. Debris removal, do you have, because you have here a core size, but the space, if we are talking about circular motion, this space to get the debris out by the modified S-shape cross section. Some people ask me why you are making variable pitch number, because if you made constant pitch number or the flutes number by unit of measurements the same, the file simply will have something called screw-in effect, which will be more higher if you keep it constant. So we do this to reduce that the file gets sucked inside the canal. And the last point, which is important for everyone, especially general practitioner, the color coding is very easy for you. We are using the same color codes for regular old files. So when we are saying blue, it means 30. When saying green, it's 35, and so on and so on. But the taper will be differentiated. Like if you have a single file, single line, it means it will be 0.8 tapering. And when you have two line, you will be 0.6 tapering and or 6%. And when you have three, it will be 4%. So the company decided to differentiate the kits to three kits. As a beginning, I want you to understand that this is for production and for selling purpose. You have to understand that you have some countries prefer to make it easier for them. So in this case, this is for normal cases. You can find the kit in these sizes and this kit in this sizing, because this one will be for narrow canal. So you will have the 26, 25, 4 and 24, but here you have the 38, 25, 6 and 34, because this is for moderate canals and normal canals, but this is for narrow canals. And wide canals, like if you are talking about palatal, distal, or some pediatric cases or young ages, you can get 35 and 40 and 45 taper for. But if you are elevating your practice and you want to understand more, I will take you to another step. Then I will keep taking you on the staircase till you go above the pyramids and you look to everybody from up, not from down. So I want you, now you consider yourself, because I'm from Egypt, you will consider for yourself in the base of the pyramid, and you'll start to take it step by step with me today. So in the next slide, you will be able to see the system in this way. For everyone who attended with me before, he will know that I'm going to say this, because I prefer to arrange my systems in my mind by size and taper. Why? We will speak about it later on. So you have 30 taper 8, 20 and 25 taper 6, and you have the 20, 25, 30, 35, 40 and 45 taper 4. Constant taper, and that's it. So let's take it to the next step. I want you to check this video and I'll stop exactly right here. As you can see, there is very important factor that ruling any not nickel titanium file but heat treated NiTi file, which is the phase transformation. And now I will say it in a very easy way. This temperature, when any manufacturer make a rotary file, he don't know anything about the country that this file will be in, which means that some countries are very cold, some countries are very hot, and some countries have controlled temperature inside the clinic. Like in my clinic, the control temperature is around 20 to 22. But the only constant temperature between all of us and planet Earth is your patient. Your patient is 37 degrees. So, when we are going to talk about the Azure heat treated technology, the file is programmed to be below body temperature in more Martensite phase, which we will speak about it later on, which known for flexibility and possibility for pre-bending in hard cases or limited mouth opening or inaccessible canals, and in the same time resistant to breaking, or we can say cyclic and torsional fatigue. But this will not be enough to clean and touch all the canal walls. So the heat generation comes from the friction between the file and the root canal. It will get you near body temperature to go to austenite phase, which has a super elasticity, still the file a little bit flexible, and it won't to change its shape to go to straight shape like in the beginning. So it will increase the cutting ability of the file and also will still have resistance to twisting or to reach to the limit of fatigue that will lead to file separation. So it will still resist up till this point. So the temperature that you start with, it's very important because now here I'm in the UAE. When I came here, I faced a lot of patients from multiple nationalities. Like every years I can see like the attendees today, more than 60 or 70 countries or population live here in the UAE, in Dubai and Abu Dhabi. So I saw many root canal complexities, different anatomies. So in this point, in your country, you have to know that the temperature impact the heat treated files. So when you start, you have to know that body temperature is 37. As long as heat generation happens, you will start to impact your file to clean more, but in the same time, don't push it to the limit that to go to complete austenite phase, then permanent deformation will happen, and this will be the cause of file separation. So when you understand why file gets separated, you will understand this point. For me, I make it easily for myself by keeping the canal flooded with irrigation. So in this case, I will be still within 37 or even less. So let's get again and finish the slide. So I think now you got the point of this slide to understand the temperature impact. So what we will gain when you compare the normal nickel titanium E3 with the E3 Azure heat treatment technology, you will get 260% flexibility at less or near body temperature. And this is very important, and I will make it clear. That's why I told you to write side notes for yourself. I will not keep any point missed. And in the same time, you will get 155% more resistance to separation or to twisting or deformation than the normal nickel titanium file, which is not heat treated or it's in austenite phase in room temperature. So now we have very important two factors, room temperature and body temperature. And always remember this, as long as you are holding in your hand more fixed parameters, you will get a success. So you understand that the body temperature is 37, so you know where you are. Now I will show you some videos. I did it myself, magnification to the E3 Azure tip, and I'll start to pause so you can check it by yourself. Here you can see the safe tip and the smooth transition between the tip and the first flute. Okay, the safe tip will make you more secure to be sure that you will not alternate the natural canal anatomy. Then you see the cutting flute with the S-shaped cross section with something very important, neutral rack angle. All the files that I'm picturing right now is used, not new. And you can see there is no deformation in the blades, and this is for the quality of production. And following every step, I'm not neglecting any minute step in the production. You see the surface. This is very important. You cannot see these details while you are doing your cases. Okay. The next video is when you will start to see a deformation, but the file will not separate it. I'm forcing some of my files to extent that I can get deformation. I overheat the file. You saw the cutting flutes now. You see the unwinding. You see, here is the core of the file still supporting the blades, and you will not get separation. And I even will show it to you later on in a video how I overheat the file in natural tooth structure. The blade still sharp, not deformed, no cracks. All what you have seen now reduce the possibilities of file separation. And it's very important to understand in all your rotary system. Now we will take it to the second step, the easy pass. As you can see, the easy pass is marked by one line, white color, and you will find that the file color look amber or look like golden yellow. We can understand this later on, and I will speak about it today. I will not leave you in the desert, but you have to understand this very important. I'm sure every one of you will be able to understand and distinguish why there is a different color in the file. It's not a paint, it's not a coat. You have to understand why. First of all, I call this file like it's our butter. This file, as you can see, very light. I did this picture myself. This file, very light. You can stand it like this and the file will not shake. It's very well centralized. You can use this file either by two ways. One is the normal way and the other one is my way. We will speak about it. The easy pass file is a glide pass file. It's not different. It's same as shape cross section, different way of heat treatment. The tip size is 0.14 of millimeter, which we call it 14, but we increase the core size, same safe tip, and the same modified S cross section. But here it's not a taper 4. Here it's a decreasing taper 4 to decrease the possibilities that the file get snugged or uh, stuck inside the canal. That's why I said there is two ways to use this file. The first way, if you are kind of person who like to create a glide pass, you can use this file instead of manual files for me. Or my way, if you did your preoperative x-ray and you find that the canal is thin and hairy due to many reasons, calcified, obliterated canal, old age, necrotic case, in this case, this file will be the file of choice. So, 14, decreasing taper 4, with modified cross-section, which mean if we keep it in the S-shape parameters like the E3 Azure, if you cut the file from here and look from above, you will see the file like this. But no, we didn't do it like this. We changed the core size. Why? To support the small size of the file. So you will not get separation easily, as I will show you in my next videos. So If we keep it like this, it will be normal way, it will be in this shape, but we increase the core size to decrease the chances that the file gets separated. Or for the second more important point, which for me and my protocol timeless endodontics, that the file is well separated inside the canal, because the file, it's not a circle like this picture. So when you have all this surface, which we call it semi-radial land, this file will simply centralized and touching as much as it can from the canal walls, because I call it canal walls, not canal circle or canal oval shape. So don't look to this numbers right now, look to this file, this picture. If this part is 14 or 0.14 from millimeter, the tapering, if we took it 4%, it will be the light gray here. But when you do a decreasing taper, it will keep 4%, 4%, 4% increasing. We'll speak about it later on, but at this point, it will keep decreasing. So the file will not stuck into any irregularities in the canal, because when we produce any file, us as an Endostar or any other company, they don't know your patient. You don't know who is the patient coming to you. Even you don't know your patient. It's first time to see him and start to get know about his anatomy. Okay? So we did it in a decreasing taper. And this factor is very important. Any file can get separated. But when you understand why, and here, as I said before, temperature. So at 20 degrees, it took 250 seconds under stress and overheat to separate the file. And here at 35 degrees, as you can see here, the orange line, which means it's amber heat treatment, and the gray line with no heat treatment, so you can understand the difference. Here, it took 251 seconds, and here took 175 seconds at 35 degrees, which is near to body temperature. But without the heat treatment at the same temperature, the time even less than the half. So now we understand as a new step how the heat treatment reduce the chances of file separation or deformation, which will lead later on to separation. So controlling temperature is a very important factor to you in your practice. You can control it by cleaning the file, controlling by soaking the canal with irrigation in the pulp chamber, but the most important, the heating, which will be one of the factors that will be causative factor for file separation, which is your fear. Create your fear. So let's check the videos. This is the tip. As you can see how it's like a needle, but with a safe tip. So it will never be able to make you any ledge transportation, any change in your natural canal anatomy. Adding on some points that I will speak about it later on. Can you see? In the second video, I will show you the flutes. Mostly you will find neglectable parts to cut, because the purpose of this file not cutting it just to create a glide path. Either the case is very hard and you need to create a glide path, or you are from the people who like to create a glide path to feel comfortable. Final video, you can see the unwinding. You can see that it's didn't separate even from the weakest point, because this part we are talking about 1 to 2 millimeter, which we are talking about 0.2. wire thickness. All these files has been used, not a new file. It's I killed these files so I to make sure what is the boundaries of these files and these systems. Okay, after finishing all these videos, sorry for the shaking, but to with my own stuff and own machine to make these videos for you, it's not an easy thing. Uh, it's a little bit shaky, but at least now you are like standing next to the file. Okay, so let's finalize the first two files together. How you can utilize and understand the amber and azure heat treatment technology. If anyone here from Egypt have seen this incident, it's next to my city called Port Said. It's on the Suez Canal, and as you can see, Evergreen is stuck. When Endostar made this advertising, I'm a little bit confused because in my protocol, Timeless Endodontics, um, this is a white canal, so only I will go by 3E3 Azure in a crown down manner, and it's all done. But as you can see here, here is a problem. Okay, so calcification or obliteration. So let's go for easy pass. So this little guy solves the day, so you can later on get your ship out by the bigger file. Okay, so this is how we can utilize. Okay, as you can see the pictures. So when it's very tight and you need to open a small part, slow motion with caution with temperature. But to what extent you have to be cautious with temperature? And now we are going to maybe like fifth step in our pyramid to understand what is the difference between martensitic phase and austenitic phase. And when you start at, very important to say, room temperature. So martensitic phase, you are extremely flexible. You can pre-bend the file and the file will not get easily broke. But when you go to this phase, you will still elastic, high cutting efficiency, more resistant to fracture, but later on you will go to fracture. There is no going back except then cooling the file, because the opposite, because it's just physics, and temperature will impact the heat treatment. So when you go in the temperature increase, the only way to fix it is to decrease the temperature. For sure, there is multiple factors other than temperature, canal curvature, canal angles, all this stuff, your speed and torque, and we'll speak about this later on. But one of the most important factors that impact the heat treatment file is the temperature. So I'll give you this very nice slide. Mr. Mark did this precise calculation for the temperature. It's a little bit complicated, but as you can see, and I will say it at the end of the lecture and you will understand it, I want you to write this in the side note: blue file, and we can say yellow brownish file. Write this side notes. This is blue and this is yellowish. Here, to start the austenite phase, it will be at 34, and the highest temperature to impact the austenitic phase is 37. But in easy pass, we use the method of heat treatment that the impact will be higher at 35. So it means that you need to cool down the easy pass file for many reasons more than the Azure. The Azure can take more stress, more heat generation than the easy pass. Okay, so as a simple mind, no brainer, this file is smaller taper, and this file is bigger taper. Overheating will impact this one than this one. So I'm not saying being cautious, but now you understand at 35, which will be body temperature, which you will not reach to from the first second, because inside the canal you are not touching the blood. You still inside the tooth. But I mean, when you reach 37 here, the file will not separate, but it will start to do some kind of deformation here at 35. So I hope you got this step, you understand it very well, and write it down on your white paper, because we will speak about this point one more time, but not now. So now we understand same different method of heat treatment. This picture is very important. I still can bend all of them mostly the same angle at room temperature, because here we have many factors that affect on the file, because the first time I'm going to say it right now. Not the factor related to heat treatment only, but here the factors are heat treatment, difference in size, and the constant is the room temperature. So here the heat treatment method is completely different. All of these are the same heat treatment method, but the core size and sizing factor impact the way that you can curve the file. In today's lectures, I'm not going to be show off for any cases. All of us have his own lovely cases. Today, it's all pure science for the people who are already starting their first steps, and even for specialists. So all these cases and more you can find on my page, done by understanding the case and choosing the proper sizes. This is your last time to see cases. Okay, so after finishing the Azure and the Easy Pass, I want to say that International Endodontic Journal in Europe decided not to publish any studies in 2015 using any plastic models. Why? Because they found that the plastic models have many limitations. Even if you use irrigation, it will not impact anything. The hardness is 50% less than human dentin. So I decided to put the video today, because I have many videos using plastic model. I decided to make my video on a natural tooth. Some of people of you have seen it before. And if you didn't see it, just I'm utilizing two systems, two files, which is not a real life situation. In my cases, I don't prefer to use a single file, but just showing you how I will overheat the file even to deflute it, and in the same time I'll speak about a little bit about the irrigation, because this tooth has an open apex, so I insist to open it a little bit more, because the impact of the cleaners and hydrogen peroxide to keep it clean like this. So this is normal, but this is not the real life, but I want you to check the video. Okay, this is the easy pass, as you can see in the picture and the x-ray in this lovely premolar. This is a 30 taper 4. It's not my favorite to use a single file for cleaning and shaping. As you can see here, I open this part. You see this motion? We will talk about it today. This is my favorite motion. As I told you here, body temperature is not a factor. This is my room temperature. So, can you see the deformation and overheating? I keep the debris inside. I didn't remove anything. I keep the debris inside. Just to overheat, keeping overheat the file. Later on, I will do irrigation to remove everything. But just I want to see the limitation of the file. And as you can see, the video is only 5 minutes, so everyone knows that, yeah, if this is the apex when you don't do irrigation. So when you do irrigation, please try. Okay, the file will get you the debris outside with the right motion, but as you can see here, the bulb tissue is getting out. Some tissue, some dirty stuff inside the canal. So irrigation, we'll speak about it later on. It's very important. You see the motion? It's not rotation and it's not reciprocation. It's my favorite. I call it my favorite. You see the defluting in the middle of the file, and the file didn't get break. No breakage. And you can see I bend my hand, I bend the motor, everything. See over instrumentation. Let me go back so I can show you this part. Okay, Gatabursha is inert, but still you need to know what are you doing. You see? This is only 20 taper 6 Gatabursha, but just I'm showing you and it's get out. You cannot even determine. That's why it's good to always revise your working lengths using your apex locator if you can, if you have it. If not, always revise and recalibrate your working lengths. I always like to recalibrate it by X-ray and Gata Persia, and for sure for me I use the apex locator. The second part, it's a little bit funny, but when sodium hypochlorite accident happened, I want you to check. This is a side vented needle but with pressure. Okay, can you see how the fluid will get out? I want you to imagine this space, it's your bone. Either it's maxilla or mandible. So just don't do pressure, and also don't be afraid. So when you know your working length, you simply can adjust your needle to a little bit like 1 to 2 millimeters. For me, I keep it 1 millimeter or 2 millimeter away from the apex. You see the file when it detwisted here? And this is one of the advantages of the A3 Azure. You can predict everything with the proper use and sequence. This is our final result with obturation. Okay. Our last system we'll speak about. I want you now to prepare your mind. If you have any question, write it down. Don't forget. Take a breath. So the last system is the revision. It's used for retreatment. For me, revision is very important for two things. The first one of them, that I understand the design, I understand the heat treatment, So it's not a big difference to use than the E3 Azure. But the color coding is very important. So it has S file cross section, 90-degree cutting edges. It will remove the old filling. And the most important point to me, the second one, is easy to read, which means in your practice, I prefer not to use the retreatment files in treatment. So color coding, no colors. One line is 30 taper 8, two line 25 taper 6, and three line is 20 taper 4. So my assistant, if I need them in any of my practice, just they are separated easily. And if by mistake I took the wrong file, I can fix it right away. So I will not get confused because there is too much stresses on the rotary system. So especially with my technique. So simply when you differentiate it, you understand what are you doing. You will not use the file more than the required times according to the canal that you use it, and also material inside the canal like Russian red, thermophils, uh, calcified canals after removing of the gutta percha. So all these factors are very important to me. Okay, after we spoke about the three system, we'll start again to take you to another level. Not only this picture have a lot of information, and I will even make it more clear to you later on. So if you can write down, later on he will speak about the motion one more time. So our systems have a very huge plus. You can use it in a rotary motion, the normal rotary motion with a speed setting, torque, and only auto reverse. Reciprocal motion, but what I say, reciprocal right cutting motion, because all the reciprocation files in the market go to the left, which means counterclockwise angle is bigger than clockwise. So it's cut in reverse so the debris can get out. But in our files, you will make the clockwise angle is bigger than the counterclockwise so the file can get you the debris out. So if you want to try our systems easily, you will, because you like reciprocation motion from other systems or other companies, you will still enjoy to use the reciprocation motion, but you will make your clockwise angle is higher than the counterclockwise. The OTR motion or the adaptive motion, it's a huge subject because this is what I call it my favorite motion. And in this case, also clockwise is higher than counterclockwise, and I will make it clear later on. So, to end the first cornerstone or axis, what is unique value that you will get from our system? First one of them, we spoke about it right now, that you can use it in any kind of motion, and this is not in all systems in the market. Okay, the second part is related to my protocol. There are less chances of alteration of natural canal anatomy because of the semi-radial land design, which is the S shape, in combination with crown down sequence. Crown downs mean you will start by the bigger iso size to the smaller according to many factors. We will speak about it later on. Also, the semi-radial land and landed cross-section files in all scholar research show that it has less chances for crack formation along the root, which means more longevity to your treatment and your patient. The number four for us that we don't need a special gutta percha because you have your files with a special with constant taper. So if you end up by 25 taper 6 or 30 35 taper 4, you will find the normal gutta percha. You don't need to search for a special gutta percha made by a specific company. Like it's easily to go and buy yourself bread. So simply you will get the normal Gata Persia in '04 or in '06. The point number 5 is related to me. And 6, it's not a single use file. It means that you can sterilize it as long as it still can be used. How you can use it, how you can check if evidence of defluting still available after sterilization, it means that the file will work good with you, but that the cutting efficiency will be a little bit less. So you can use it in combination with other files or in easier cases. But if you cannot see any deformation, you can use it for 5, 6, 7 molars. For me, I even use more as long as that the anatomy didn't compromise the file surface. The next point is very important to me, not single file system, which mean if you like to use your file in peace of mind when a company tell you, okay, our file is a single file, this file can use it in your canal, do you believe is this is reasonable? Like a company in Europe, in Switzerland, in France, in Germany, create a file and told you when you are in Croatia, Egypt, China, Japan, Australia, that this file will be suitable for your patient? 100% not. No way that a single file can manage all your cases or even 60% of your cases. And if this file managed your case, no way it will clean and remove as much as debris as much you as a practitioner, general, specialist, or consultant to see your case requirement and what it's able to clean and remove from inside the canal. Okay? And I will speak about this later on more. Balanced heat treatment method which lead to suitable multiple situation. As you can see, the Easy Pass is completely different than the Azure, and even the sizing factor impact the behavior of the Azure inside the canal. So this method of heat treatment in combination with the size and understanding for crown down protocol and glide pass making, it will make you a winner. And the last point, we don't have replicas. So it's easily to make sure that our file is original, not fake. So all these points will make us or allow us to understand that you need to try our systems. Okay, let's take it to the middle pyramid, timeless endodontic protocol. Okay, when I started Timeless Endodontic Protocol, I started to do my cases in 2010 without any manual file, using rotary non-heat treated files. Back then was only Profile and K3 by then Supply and Care, and later on I used the E3, the normal one, and it was very tough and aggressive file because all these files not heat treated in original phase at room temperature, but I didn't have the gut to post my cases online. My first case, as you can see here, was in March 26. I remember this date, 2014, more than 10 years. And I remember this case here. It's pushed me to, I have to say something. I have to even get better because at this time, like any fresh grad from you, I don't know anything except the basics. Nobody give me the chances to be open to more rotary systems, to new motors. It was all like the song all by myself. So uh, I remember this date. That's why I'm making this lecture today and dedicated to all the fresh graduate. Make sure that one day you will exceed me. I want all of you to be better than me, simply by reading not only books, scientific research, and put in your mind that you have to understand all the details till you love root canal treatment like I do. I cannot imagine myself doing anything other than doing root canal treatment. So before I speak about and dive into my protocol, I want you to highlight a very important point. Why I started Timeless Endodontics other than make it stress-free? Is it for not using manual file? It's not valid. If you can do it with manual file easily, it's okay. You are happy with it. But I have a lot of other reasons. One of them was fear of file separation, fear of finding canal stopped in my face when I'm doing a glide pass was file 15 or 6 or 8. And I can see a lot of exclamation mark in front of my eyes. Why I cannot go in this straight canal? What's going on? I cannot see what inside. Now I can see what inside by the rotary system. So what I want to highlight here is that the chemical disinfection, it's the heart of the procedure. It's very important. You cannot neglect. It's very important step. You want to make sure that this fluid has its own impact on the dentinal tubules, and you have to take care of it very much. So I created Timeless Endodontics to reduce the stresses on me, to make the procedure less stressful and the canal ready to take and to absorb as much as it can from the irrigant solution from the first minute, from the first seconds. So when you reduce the stress during mechanical preparation, you will focus so much on your chemical disinfection. So I want you to highlight this not on your white paper, on your brain cells. Our target is chemical disinfection, no compromise. So in the procedure, in the basics of root canal treatment, for me in Timeless Endodontics, there is a constants and variables. Okay? Like any mathematical equation, it can be linked to constants and the variable. Constants you can control, variables you cannot. So some of the variables you can adjust, but some of the variables you cannot. So our constants is your choice of your file or size or taper or design. That's why when you tell me there is a variable taper file, okay, I can use it. But in the beginning of your practice, who told the company who made this variable taper that this variable taper will be proper for this curvature? When you have a file with two ways of heat treatment along the surface, like you will find the color, yeah, the file have two colors, or the file have four colors. Who said that at this millimeter, this point will face the same curvature or the same angle every day with different patients? So when you use this kind of systems, you have to understand that you have to be more professional, not on your first step, because these files are not for everyone. And even for me, I am not using it because I don't need to. I'm not saying they are bad, but still adding more variables to your equation, it will not make anything easier. Okay, it can be helpful in one case at a year, but not all your cases. So the constants, try to make them constants by understanding simple cross section you like, which I prefer the radial or semi radial, constant taper, proper way of heat treatment. So this file is in this color, which we will speak about it later on. The variable is rotation speed, torque setting, heat treatment, and the sequence that you can use, which you can adjust by yourself. But some variables you cannot adjust. The anatomy of your patient, how it's complex is it? But the rotation speed you can adjust, the torque you can adjust. It's variable, but still you can adjust. So what I mean, and I want you to understand that don't increase your variables because you already have. When I'm giving you this lecture, I'm thinking about planet Earth. The anatomy in the Asian continent is completely different than Africa and America and Europe, Australia. When I have patients from India or Pakistan, you have a lot of our triple rooted premolars. So this is not normal. I don't see it too much in some Arabian population. When I find it, sometimes I find it in only lowers. Okay, when I receive retreatment cases from Russia or Ukraine, I find a lot of Russian red. So I have to give you this information in the proper way so all of you can understand. So, what I want to say here, please try to reduce your variables. Try to be constant, to be definitive, to understand size, taper, and heat treatment. Don't increase your variables so you can predict and adapt to any patient which is variable. Okay, so let's take timeless endodontics in the second step. Timeless endodontics represents approach with zero manual file. You don't do glide pass, you don't revise your working lens with manual file, you don't touch any manual files because I don't want you to lose your sensitivity, which you will gain later on by utilizing what I'm going to say. Okay, so what you will do to go for the final step, which I am in right now in timeless endodontics, because when I started in 2014, I had no heat treated files, I had only rotary motion, and later on, some files with reciprocation motion. So nowadays, today, in my today cases in the morning, I use adaptive motion, OTR, crown down technique, adjusting the spirit, speed, and torque according to the case requirement, and I understand the heat treatment to the level that I use the file according to the case. And the torque control in the adaptive motion is completely different than the normal motion. And the clockwise and counterclockwise angulation, I want you to understand also this and read about it for all different canal types. So when I do my preoperative x-ray, which is the question in your mind now, how he can adjust all these settings now by seeing my patient mouth opening and some stuff. I will speak about it later on at the end of the lecture. So write down this part. I will speak about it at the end of the lecture. So these points, I want you to highlight it because these points are the points that important and responsible for timeless endodontics. So what you will read about, we will read about nitinol, file design and parameters, which means a lot of points: size, taper, helical angle, rack angle, pitch numbers, tip design, kind of rotary motion, and the chemical disinfection. Nickel titanium, as I said before, to study about, so you can understand my protocol, you have the heat treatment. The heat treatment is performed in a temperature between 400 and 500. And this is one of the ways to modify the nitinol. And even sometimes more than 500 for 30 to 120 minutes. Phase transition temperature in the austenite phase. Do you remember when I said that the easy pass, there is a difference 1 to 2 degrees between the azure? When you understand this point, which I will make it clear later on for you, you will understand how this will impact your file. Mechanical properties. After the heat treatment, you will get more tensile and torsional and cyclic fatigue resistance. And the last point, which is very important, is shape memory effect. All the files, the NiTi file, are super elastic, but not all of them, or not All of them have the same shape memory effect. So increasing the temperature or increasing the temperature used to heat treat the file in the factory will increase the file resistant to cyclic and fatigue and increase the shape memory effect. So write this down, that after heat treating the file will be more in martensitic phase. So it will be more have more advances in the shape memory effect factor. The second point is the file design parameters. In the first, second, and third generation, then doing single file system by many companies and electric discharge or electric polishing for the file to enhance the files and reduce the macro cracks on the file systems. So the second point, when my protocol started to be cooked and understood by me, I started to dig deep in all these points. So this is how timeless endodontics build. Normal radial land, when you see me talk about and say passive cutting tip, radial land, and neutral rack angle, which is scrapping the canal, this is how it look like. You see? This file not heat treated. Then we go for the active tip files, like this one, which I don't prefer, but they made before just to remove the gutta percha. But if you go more in curvature, simply you will do ledge because it will alternate. It's like a drill. Now you are not cleaning and shaping, now you are drilling. Here, the non-active tip. Third generation with post-grinding thermomechanical heat treatment. It will improve the cutting efficiency and improve the mechanical preparation of the file. Single file system. I have single file systems in my clinic, but I never use it alone, which contain heat treatment and in the same time different file design in the same file, which means increasing the variables. Electropolishing, as you can see, instead of heat treatment to the night eye, they electropolish the file to give it advantage and prevent that the file easily broken and or have irregularities during production, so will lead to micro cracks, and the file will get separated. And in the same time, it will increase the cutting efficiency. You have to try all this by yourself so you can understand and differentiate. The last part, which is very, very, very important. In the beginning, I started with continuous rotation, and I found a lot of my friends and colleagues and even interns confused about this. So when you use the file in the continuous rotation, you will choose speed and torque value, and when this file have resistance, the file will get auto reverse. What meant by this point? So if you don't have advanced motor and you have only continuous rotation motor and use our settings, which says that you can use in speed 350 to torque 1.5. Manufacturer recommendation is not a wrong thing. But for me, when I advise anyone to use any system or E3 system or EasyPass, I always tell my colleagues, please use a step lower than what they gave you. Because when they gave you this setting, even some respectful companies, even in Endostar, right, for advanced user or for the beginners. So always try to go a step less, because the higher the torque value, the higher that the file will not do auto reverse. So you will not increase your knowledge, you will not increase your sensitivity, you will not increase your awareness. So I want you to be master of your file, not the file mastering you. So a higher torque value, the file will never do auto reverse, it will keep digging. You will not get the confidence and the knowledge and the sensations that you need. In the reciprocation files, either if it's original reciprocation systems which cut in counterclockwise, you have now a new value to add is the angles of rotation. So in reciprocation, you have counterclockwise and clockwise angulation and the same speed and torque value and a special file design if it's counterclockwise. So you will find that the flute designed in the reverse. So the debris will come out not to be inserted inside the canal. Same in Azure, but in Azure, we cut in clockwise in the right side. So the clockwise angle will be more than the counterclockwise, so also the debris go out. The last point is the optimum torque reverse or as adaptive motion, and now we have something very important extra added, which is it's a recent technology. I started to use it in Morita mostly in 2018. Maybe it's released before. Now they have it, the latest one, the plus one. You have a torque provoke reversal, which means that the file, you have to listen to this very precisely. The file will not stop. In the normal rotation, the file will do auto reverse. But in the OTR motion, the file will do reciprocation until the file will continue again to rotation. So it will reduce the file to break. It's a safety feature, and also in Morita motors and the advanced motor, even you can tell the motor when it's connected to your apex locator to slow down the speed that you choose when you reach or near to the apex by 1 or 2 or 3 millimeter. So this motion is gentle on your tooth structure and will minimize the excessive preparation, which I prefer, and also reduce the number of file needed. But still, I pressurize on this, not single file, because we are not dealing with a single circle or oval. So if you just want to finish fast with single file, even you can finish faster than me, but you will not clean very well. What good about the OTR motion, which I didn't write here, and I want you to understand that the OTR motion, when you combine it with crown down, let me remind you, crown down, which means going from bigger to smaller, and which will I speak about it later on, whatever it's taper 6 or taper 4, it will lead to increasing your knowledge about your anatomy. So when you're doing your preoperative x-ray and you will find that the adaptive motion is triggered and the file started to work in reciprocation, either that the canal curvature is here or the complexity is here, or this file is bigger and touching as much walls that the file get higher friction, which mean higher temperature on this point. So when I say safety feature, also it will increase your experience. So in OTR motion, do I follow manufacturer recommendation in torque value, and I'm specific torque value? No, because I want the adaptive motion to be triggered earlier than expected or earlier than the file boundaries. So the file can live with me more, and if you reach to this level, I don't want to say it this way, but you will learn how not to break a file, and you will not be in stress for anything or even to get the knowledge of, oh my god, I broke the file, I have to have all the kits and the instrument in my clinic, I need to remove this file by microscope. So no stress by mastering this protocol. As you can see in this video with a plier, I broke a file, and in the middle part, in the last 3 flutes, as you can see the variable pitch number, in slow motion, you can see one black line on the stopper. You will see when I do pressure on the plier, it will work as a reciprocations, and when I release the stress a little bit, I'm losing the file out. You will see the black lines, reciprocation, forward, back, but When it get loose, it will go rotation, rotation, reciprocation again, rotation. It will never stop. It will not waste my time. It will save me time. Then I do pressure again and reciprocation one more time till it get loose. Let's play it one more time for you because I'm sure you will enjoy it again. Okay. So I hope you did understand it that the OTR motion is completely different than the rotation and auto reverse. Because I had this question, I'm sure a lot of you with me today, and I promise them to give them this answer. The last point is the chemical disinfection, and I'm sorry, this is not our subject today. So in Timeless Endodontics, we spoke about these 4 points. So I did these instructions with Endostar. You are more than welcome in Endostar website and the links available to download this PDF about predictable. And I'm saying it predictable because I'm not with you in the clinic. I'm not with you with limited mouth open. I'm not with you with stressful patient. So I cannot judge anyone. But in most of the situation, you will be able to use these sizes and find solution when you face a complexity as this second category and the first one in the normal situation. So it's available to you to use and to read, and you have any question you can ask me anytime. Now we will go to the last part and the most enjoyable part, which I will connect all the dots together for you. I hope you are not getting bored, but we will show you some very good stuff over here. So, what I'm going to say today, I proudly give a workshops in UAE, Poland, Egypt, many countries, and I have to say it's very hard to say in a webinar. And this part, despite being not so big, but it took me a long time to try to arrange it in this way for you. It's a huge part. The science behind all this, its huge part, cannot be said in 45 minutes or 30 minutes, but I'll try to make it easier for you. In the beginning of my doubts of my timeless endodontics protocol and with my collaboration with Endostar, I have to understand all kinds of night eye and heat treatment. I have to understand the impact. All these 4 points must be connected together. The irrigation and the canal condition, which mean what kind of tissue inside. Is it necrotic, calcified, blood, pus, file design, as I said before, and the size and the taper. How I can connect all these points together. And actually, it wasn't enough for me because when I came here to UAE and also before in Saudi Arabia and King Fahd, all teeth are not equal. It will never be the same situation in your beginning. Maybe after mastering all what I've said before and reading all about it, you will find image how your treatment will be. Because nitinol, it's accurate to control when you understand it, but also you have to possess a clear vision for the case in combination of the capabilities of the endodontic file to get all the good of the file and try to get zero negative effect from the rotary system. So I will try to focus in the most on the most important points that if you understand it after what you highlight and wrote in your white paper, what I ask you to write, I'm sure your treatment starting from today night or tomorrow morning, according to your time now, it will be completely different. Your experience will be completely different, which is the heat treatment and the size parameter. I took the 2 points that will give you a kickstart, because I'm not with you, I'm not giving you a full day or 2 days lectures to give you all, but you will see the difference. So let's break the nitinol, as I said before, and I want you to put the easy pass and the Azure example in your mind. So there is two main criteria, which is super elasticity and shape memory. All NiTi files have a super elasticity behavior, but not all of them have shape memory, which means the austenitic super elastic files, when you do mechanical stress on it, it will bend, but when you remove the stress in the same temperature, it will do a spring back. It will go back straight, which means it will be hard on your root. And in the same time, the size will make a huge impact. So the bigger file will be more stiffer and will change your natural canal anatomy. So the factor here is the load, the mechanical load, and the room temperature and the temperature impact and overheating inside the canal will have huge impact and simply will lead to higher separation. Like I said in my first slide, the difference between the normal E3 and the heat treated one, you will get more 260% flexibility. Like this picture. This is a normal 35 taper 6 from profile, night eye, not heat treated. But in the same time, you will see that when you remove the load, the file will go back straight, which is austenite phase. In the shape memory, when you do stress at room temperature, the file will never go back to its original shape unless this file will remember his original shape when the programmed temperature is changed, which means now this file is curved inside the canal and rotated inside the canal, and this outer side is touching more than the inner side. The temperature impact in this point is higher than this point, so this point will reach more to 36, 37, 38, 40 than this part, so that this area will want to go to be straight. For sure, this will not happen in 2 to 3 seconds or 5 seconds. That's why we said the importance of just go in and out, and check your file, clean it faster, don't leave debris, and always keep the canal flooded so to avoid the impact of temperature. And now you understand the impact of temperature. So the austenitic phase in this area will start earlier than the other surfaces of the file. If you understand this and you put it in your mind and you can imagine it, and you understand it from your X-ray in combination with motion and the adaptive motion and the triggering point of the motor, that the file now started to do reciprocation, you will not have fear. Even you can continue for 1 or 2 seconds. Then do more irrigation and try more time. Monitor the working length. If you exceed more, it's perfect. If not, change the file to the smaller size to implement the crown down protocol. So, as you can see, bend the Azure, it will keep as it is here. So, in austenite form, the file at room temperature, whatever you bend it, as long as you removed your hand from the file will stay straight, which as they made it in the factory, like the A3. But in martensitic form, at room temperature, it will do whatever you want you to do. But when we do file in these pictures, this file is not under friction. But when friction happens, you understand now after this webinar what's going on. This part will be subjected to heat more than other parts. Okay? So, why heat treatment is important is to manage case like this with easy pass. So it can be bent, you can go for this curvature for sure without any manual file. Or if you want to do a glide pass, you can even do it with a rotary system. So let's go dig a little bit deep in science. So the traditional shape, it will be like this, but it's still stiff, still limited to fatigue resistance and restricted in severely curved canal. But when you do the heat treatment, the file at room temperature, it's in martensitic phase, you can deform it. When heat happened, at this point, it starts to return back to austenitic phase and the file want to go straight. And I will show it to you in a video. So that's why you cool it down, do irrigation, clean the file, and you are all good. You are still flexible, and you know now at which point from the stopper you receive resistance, you receive heat at this point of the canal. So let's do it in another way. Here is your file in the original shape at room temperature. You bend it and deform it inside the canal because your canal is not like this, it's not a straight line at all. So the deformation happens, heat happens due to friction and the body temperature. So it will revert to want to go straight at this part. A lot of things can happen. Overheating can happen, separation, changing the canal anatomy. But when the file is heat treated, it will be hard to reach to this stage, except if you overheating the file. So let's make it easier for you. As you can see in the right image, I did this experiment myself. This is a not heat treated file. This is an old profile which is not available in the market anymore. With no any measurements, I heat the file for different times, as you can see, but for a very high temperature, more even than the 500 and 700 for a seconds. But here, less than here, and here more. So each millimeter have different mechanical properties. So as you can see here, this is a non-heat treated file. Okay, 60 taper 4. And when I did the heat treatment, even with the biggest core size over here, which is around 1 millimeter or even more, the file can be flexed at room temperature. Each color, I want you to revise the colors: blue, red, violet or red, and here gray and black. Each part of these parts has properties which I still will speak about it today. So this file is pre-bendable due to what I have done with no measurements, despite it's originally in austenitic phase. And to reverse the situation, I did the treatment in the reverse way. So I programmed the file at room temperature to be straight, which is it's originally is, and I give it a very minus degree, which is minus 50 by the normal Endofile ice. So in my beginning, I can understand what's going on because I didn't understand what I'm doing. So I programmed this file, not by USB or a laptop, just I keep it alone in the mother phase, austenite phase at room temperature, and which is this what happens in the factory, that they keep it in the mother phase in a pre-made temperature. But in this case, I cooled it so I can bend it, and I leave this file within 5 seconds to return to room temperature, as you will see right now. You see what happens? Simply, it will return back to its original shape because this is the molecular form that he will reach to its rest state. As I told you in the beginning of this part, or the final stone of my lecture, that what I'm speaking today is very complicated. I tried so much to make it easy for everyone on our lovely planet. More than 60 countries is a fearful thing. It's my first time to do it. So everyone has mentality, so you have to understand it. You have seen what happens now. At room temperature, it returned back to the original shape. On the other hand, the azure come to us from the factory already heat treated. So when you impact the heat from the system B or element, in this case here, it took seconds because for sure this temperature is 150. You will never reach this inside the canal. But now you remember when I said that the easy pass need 250 seconds to get broken or to get permanent deformation. Now you understand in 5 seconds I return the azure to the original shape to be straight at 150 degrees for only 4 seconds or 5 seconds. So I hope that your mind connect all these points together to understand the behavior of endostar systems inside the canal. So when I read about heat treatment, most of my work is engineering, not dental, because dentistry is the same. It didn't evolve so much in root canal treatment study in the dental school too much than what I have studied back in 90s and 2001, 2002. In this paper, I encourage you to read. I keep it to you now so you can picture it or something. It will differentiate between regular and non-heat treated and heat treated files, but with different way of heat treatment, different companies. I will focus on the blue and gold heat treatment method as they call it. So here he talk about the manual stainless steel files, the composition and the advantage and the limitation, and what is the trend around the globe. And he says that we still use it for patency and creating light paths. For me, I'm not using this at all after understanding what I have said today and even other stuff more. That for sure we didn't speak about it, but I spoke what is the most important for you. Then it will take it to the second point, the M wires, the R phase files, the CM wires, and the gold and blue heat treatment and cryogenic treatment. And you will find also down, maybe as far as I remember, the electropolishing. So the treatment type here is the gold and blue heat treatment. Simply, it's a proprietary thermomechanical treatment after grinding process or manufacturing process. It will lead to blue or gold surface layer. Color, we have to understand why, because titanium oxide layer in the blue on the blue colors, and gold for repeated heating and cooling of the file at pre-measured heat treatment temperature, which is program temperature. Okay, so the properties, it will be mainly stable in martensite in the blue one and or the R phase. What it will give you a very important points to my protocol. It will reduce overall micro hardness with greater surface hardness, so the file is flexible but still resisting. Second point is very important if you got it in your mind while you are doing your treatment, central preparation, and improve the flexibility and cyclic fatigue in comparison to the other wires. So the conclusion from this is this super elasticity and the heat treatment, it will enhance the physical and the mechanical properties of the file, which will lead what I have said before to focus on adequate chemical disinfection, to let the irrigation to reach to all your dentinal tubules, to all the surfaces, to combine the chemical and mechanical preparation together for the good of your treatment. So, until this point, you got some important point, but this one is pure engineering. And when you see it, I hope you see it for your first time to elevate your understanding of the heat treatment. The influence of heat treatment to the color and the flexibility. So, do you remember when I told you I don't like that I have a file which have 2 to 3 colors? This study done on 36 night IK file. They did the heat treatment from 450 till 750. They found color change. Okay, what they have found that the color change impacted the flexibility and the ability of the file or the wire to take higher curvature, which for us means to take higher canal complexity. So that they found that the temperature will impact the color, flexibility, and the higher flexibility for higher temperature. So is this any good for us? Yes, but no. Yes, because you'll understand what this file capable of, but no, because you will need extra increase in the temperature during the procedure to cut and clean more. Which means here is the temperature, normal, lower temperature starting from 450, going to 500, 550, 650, and 750. These figures, it's not a pure indication because I want to add this point, write it down, because not only the heat treatment impacts the file behavior inside the canal, the file design, ISO size, and taper also are variables. So when you combine all this knowledge together, you will know what you are doing or what you are practicing. Root canal experience will be completely different to you. So, as you have seen the picture, normal K files. So, here, the group of 500 and 550, you can get the royal blue to light green color, which will allow you to get a less bending resistance. So even in higher sizes, the file is still bendable, but it will not be controllable in dark gray and black and with less cutting efficiency. So the more heat treatment, the golden orange, you will get less bendability, which is, we can say here, the bending resistant is 88. So if we consider this in the easy pass, but the easy pass have a plus point, the size and the taper is small. So it's still flexible, still resistant to cyclic fatigue, but still controllable, because control is a very important factor. So here is our conclusion. The result that the more increase in temperature, the more change in color, the more change in flexibility, and for my point, also increase in the temperature needed to file separation. Some files in the market you will find it brown and black. It's very hard to break, but it's not cutting very well. So, okay, I can use it, but it's not cutting very well. I can combine it with other system if I still in my first stage. Still, the blue files still in the middle, higher cutting efficiency with the light green and blue. So we can say blue, green, orange, and yellow, higher in cutting efficiency, still flexible, and you know your boundaries, which is body temperature. Because also we don't want to go through the canal without removing the debris. The second point, size parameters. This is the 30 taper 8. Any file in planet Earth, either it's 0.8 millimeter wire or 1 or 1.2. So the tip is 30. I want you to write down or at least try to understand. This is the taper 8 orifice opener. So each millimeter when you are use your stopper is increasing by 0.08 from the tip, which is 0.3. But when you go for 6%, here's the 20 and our 25, you will increase by 0.6. So in taper 4, you will increase by 0.4. So Dr. Amr, what we will benefit from this? Okay, this file at the end it's still 0.8. This is a flexible file. But if you work in a crown down, for me, I prefer to start with a shocking number. I prefer the 35 taper 4. So if I reach here and I stop, for sure 100%, the 30 taper 4 will easily go for extra 2 millimeter. And if I go even more to 66 and I stuck, I can go for extra 2 millimeter to 3 millimeter in the 25 taper 4. So I can return back again to 30 taper 4 in more 2 millimeter. So I go down according to the canal requirement, not Dr. Amr requirement. So now you know that I'm nearly finished. I know everyone is bored now. Anyway, uh, I hope you are not. So now you understand how it's going on when you understand heat treatment and you understand the sizing factor and why I don't increase my variable, why I prefer fixed or known taper. Okay, so it's very important factor. So to sum my lecture up and try to let you connect all the points we didn't finish. In my dental school, in your dental school, we have learned a lot of information, which I didn't speak about most of them today. And this information is proper at this moment. But we can see now in whole planet the fast pace of technology and everything, not only root canal. We have to use it for our good. So we have to connect the basic with the evolving technology. We need to understand that the root canal treatment, it's not till now 100% predictable for anyone. Me, you, it's not predictable because we have a lot of factors related to human beings. We are treating humans, not cars. So, to increase your success rate, to make your procedure easy, convenient to you and your patient, you must tailor made your treatment. Don't follow Dr. Amr's step. Don't follow only timeless endodontics protocol. Try to understand more to meet your case's requirement. So, when you understand my protocol in combination with knowledge, with technology, with heat treatment, with everything, you can get not 100%, but more than 80 to 90% predictable cases. So, what I do in my practice to sum up for you, you have, when your patient, you see him for the first time, you have to ask him about his full history, sign and symptoms, what he faced, his age, his oral hygiene quality, with combination of minimum of 2 angles X-ray Not all of us had his CBCT, and not all your cases need a CBCT. Combining this with bulb condition, it's vital, it's non-vital, whatever inside, it will give you a glimpse, a shine, a spark, what kind of irrigation you will use, what kind of chemical disinfection sequence, with adjusting your irrigation activation even by a gutta percha cone. Not all of us has the capabilities to buy all this technology. In my beginning, I can do activation with gutta percha cone. It's better than doing nothing. Crown down technique, for me, it's a plus. You understand now why. You see the figures, you see the numbers in each millimeter on the file. So I never use step back. I use step back only when I need to do a glide pass with easy pass, because I see the x-ray, I can see thin hairy canal or no canal. So in this case, I'll start with a smaller size. So it's a step back, not a crown down. Rotary system centralization, which means that the canal, it's not, as we said, circle or oval, but centralization means that the file touch as much as it can from the surfaces and walls of this space or cave or ocean. So it will allow you to preserve the natural canal anatomy, and it will be done by understanding the design, the size that you will start with, the crown down protocol, the taper. All these factors will impact your centralization, because, as I said, we are deal with space. Not every heat treated file is suitable for your case. Many factors impact the behavior of the file inside the canal. As you have seen in the last paper, higher heat treatment will give you more flexibility, but you reach to the apex, but you didn't clean well. So you can continue later on by another system that continue and clean and shave very well. Okay, so all this is very important to sum up for you. Also, all kind of rotary motion, understanding it, it's very important. But to master one of them, it will take your experience and your treatment. Like in my case, adaptive motion is the future for me. Very important factor I didn't say today, but it's related to our system and other systems in the market. Higher speed and torque in your beginnings will lead you no way. It will never increase your experience. It will make the motor in control. Imagine driving electric car with self-driving and you cannot control anything, and simply you did a crash. So that's why don't be in a rotary self-driving motion. As I always say to my students, you are the driver, not the file. So, as I said, control your torque values so you don't not just doing a blender and blending the canal material inside. Understanding the angles, also the clockwise and counterclockwise, do what prepare for you and your force. For me, sometimes in the OTR motion, I use 270 clockwise and sometimes I use 180. So it's according to the case. All this will never come from day one. But what I gave you today is what I have learned in the past more than 10 years. So connecting all this point together with a preoperative radiograph and understanding your patient simply will make your life easier. If you ask me I finished or not, I finished. And I'm listening now to all your questions. You you can ask me whatever you want to ask. Okay, I started to have a lot of questions. Can I sterilize my Endostar Rotary Files? In process of having continuous first. Actually, sterilization settings, the normal setting like you do for any file systems, the normal sterilization cycles, and it's written in the back the temperature, but the time factor, it's the normal cycle of your autoclave. Uh, Having continuous first flute with the tip. I don't understand this question. Which model of endomotor do you use? Yeah, I use a provider by Endostar, and I have the Root ZX2 plus Root ZX2 by Morita, because both of them have OTR. Can we see the title of this article? Yes, sure. I will bring it back to you. And I didn't understand the first flute with the tip. It's continuous. The flute with the tip, it's rotating as a spiral, as you can see here. You see? Let's go back to the article. This one, yes, this one, here it is. Okay. What recommended speed and torque? Actually, for me, if I work in OTR motion, I work in speed 300, 350, and torque value you cannot imagine. I work with zero point 0.2, zero point 0.4, zero point 0.6, and zero point 0.8 just to be in control, to trigger the adaptive motion faster, as I said in my lecture. Do you routinely cool down your files before using? No, because room temperature, I don't cool in the fridge because here in UAE everything is air conditioned, so the temperature around 20 to 21 in my clinic. Which system is most durable, or does it depend on the case? Yes, this is a very good question. If you ask me what is the most durable, is the brown and black files. It will never break, but it will never clean. Okay. Uh, so all the heat treated systems is durable with combination of radial or semi-radial land. Okay, non-radial land file is not safe, which is triangle, square, rectangle, because the file touching the canal in points, not a surface. So that's why I don't prefer non-radial land file or non-radial land files. So if you ask me which is more durable, yes, the black and brown files, as I said here in the lecture, you see in the presentation, you see this one is more durable, but it's not cutting well. It's not engaging due to temperature increase. For multicolor file, why it's not good? Can you say again this info, please? Yeah, sure. Listen to me. When you have a blue file and you are using it, or gold file, or green file, or even gray file, you can predict that this file can capable to take this angle. But when the file is blue here, bendability here, and here is green, and here is red, and here is pink, I'm not sure how the company is sure 100% that at this millimeter, with this long or short or whatever canal, this file will receive overheat in the blue part, which is for sure not bendable like the gray part. So, how they know this? You got me? So, this is my question to them. And many, not many, maybe two or three company do it. So that's why I'm pushing on this point. I can use it. I tried it, but is it for everyone? Especially that every part of it have a different cutting efficiency due to change to the temperature, due to the friction inside the canal. Can the solvent used, sodium hypochlorite, eucalyptol, after the surface conditioning? I didn't use the eucalyptol because I removed the gataperca with a different way, but the sodium hypochlorite, no, it has impact, but not too much on the heat treated system. at least for the Azure and the Easy Pass. How can you manage complex anatomy like 1, 2, 1, and so on using rotary files? This is a very good question, and at my beginning, it was very hard to manage. So I manage it one canal by its own by using glide pass file. So in this case, I don't work in a crown down manner. I manage this part first, then I manage the second part by using a glide pass file. You mentioned the tip is a safety tip and focused about how smooth the first flute and the continuity of the tip. Does it have any add benefit to have continuous flute with the tip? Okay, I want to be sure that I understand well, but yes, it will allow to the file to drag the file inside the canal as long as you work in a crown down manner. Because as I said, not all the canals are the same. So it will slide the file into the canal. Which Apex locator do you use? I use the Morita one inside the Rod ZX2. What is your opinion on some rainbow? How would you impact your customer like seven colors? This is what I was talking about. I'm not sure why they have done it this way. Are they sure that this part will touch this part and will get overheat in this millimeter? This is my question. After you see a real study showing the impact of temperature and bendability. Yeah, adaptive technique. Yeah, okay. Adaptive motion or adaptive technique or OTR motion, it will allow the file to, instead of do continuous rotation, it will do reciprocation. So at this case, the file will simply do reciprocation, try to lose itself, and at this time you will do continuous measurement and seeing if the file progress or not. Then you will remove it and you do irrigation again or use EDTA liquid, whatever your way of using the proper way to open this canal. So this is the adaptive motion that the motor will never stop, will keep rotation either in continuous rotation or reciprocation, as I showed in the video. Some companies file have different kinds of fluid. Do they heat? Actually, I don't know if they do heat treatment or coating, but change in color mean change in the titanium oxide layer. So it means that they did something that will alter the night eye properties at these parts. So I'm saying, still say, I don't like to speak on other companies today, but why? Is it beneficial or will harm me? For me, understanding the knowledge will make me master my file. But is this file? No. Who is my next patient to be heat treated in this part by this way? The recommended temperature for sterilization of this file, actually it's written in the manufacturer because I don't recall, but I do the normal manufacturer sterilization cycles. Is it possible to bypass retrieve separated file with rotary file only? Yes, I did it many times. It's successful for me, like for 80%. Last week I passed distal root, distobuccal root in tooth number 15 or upper left 7 in the middle of the canal. It was a broken, most probably K file using easy pass by adaptive motion and a lot of irrigation. So it has many factors. We cannot judge this because this is not my subject today, but it can be done. But it's not your first step to take if you want to go to the world of only rotary system. Thank you so much for the last comment. Yes, yes, it took me too much time to understand all of this, and I'm still didn't understand everything. I still need to understand more. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, I trust the Apex locator more 100%. And to be honest, Morita did a crazy thing. They did a new Apex locator. I didn't try it yet, which work in dry and wet canals with new kind of sensors that I'm still reading about it and I didn't find enough information. But yes, I will depend definitely on the Apex locator. I hope so. I hope so, my friend, all over the world. I want each and every one from the people now with us today to be better than me. Okay. The last question is a very tough question to answer. It's according to your financial state. If you can afford to do a master's degree and you love root canal treatment, now I have a lot of friends advise me that is root canal is not appreciated and you have to do implants. By the way, I have implant diploma and I don't do implants. So I have two majors. I have implant diploma from Cairo University and I'm going into my research and fellowship in endodontics. So it's up to you. It's your call where you will work, which country, the rules. Yes. But training courses, free webinars like this held by companies, by like what Endostar have done today, I didn't stood a chance because some companies just force a doctor just to say, "Oh, the files are good" and like this. But now today I have the chance to speak pure science sponsored by company, and it's not easy because most of the companies want you to say, "Oh, our systems are very good." That's it. Can we? Yes, 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 yes. Yeah, you can go from 25 taper 6, then 30 taper 4, and then start operations. Yes, but with proper irrigation. With proper irrigation, you can do it. Yes, because it's up to also if you go with a 25 taper 6, it means that the coronal part and the preoperative X-ray is huge, is big, because at the second millimeter you will be 31, and the third millimeter, you will be 38. So your third millimeter in the 25 taper 6, it will be like the second millimeter in the orifice opener. Thank you so much, Dr. Maya and Dr. Shazad. Thank you, Dr. Aya. I'll turn back to the presentation. If you want my data, I will open it up to you. Any question, any cases, any x-rays, you are more than welcome. Okay, I hope this is good for today. Thank you very much for attending and for your time, not only my time, your time. Uh, Proudly to be with you and Endostar. And I'm sure Endostar will do effort for the people who didn't attend 100% of the webinar. Most welcome, everyone. Uh, we'll send you a copy for it so you can read it and listen to it one more time. I hope so, as soon as possible. Uh, and see you soon.